We begin with the reported murder plot against Obama, and NBC's Chief Justice Department correspondent Pete Williams, who's here in Washington. Pete?
One of them had a sawed-off shotgun. One went to Tennessee, picked him up. They went back to Arkansas.
Narrative is by Paul Shanklin, who writes comedy material for Rush Limbaugh, among others. The problem is that Chip Saltzman, a former Tennessee Republican chairman, has sent Shanklin's satire to some RNC members, and that is causing some concern. Roll the tape.
Barack, the magic Negro, lives in D.C.
Well, in Tennessee, the chairman of the state's Democratic Party, among others, wants a lawmaker's aide fired for sending out an offensive email about President Barack Obama. Here it is. This went out from a state computer to other staff members of GOP senators. There you see the 44th president, two big eyes peeping over a black background. Sherry Goforth sent it out and has apologized and said it was sent by accident. Her boss, State Senator Diane Black, says this is a policy violation and that she gave Goforth a verbal and written warning. But Democratic legislators say that this email is racist and they want the aide fired. State Senator Diane Black joins me now live from Nashville. Senator, I appreciate you joining me. I guess the question is out there. Why not fire?
Well, first I want to be sure that everyone understands that the communication was sent without my knowledge. And it absolutely does not represent the beliefs or opinions of my office. And so I want to be very clear about that. When I did find out about the communication that was sent out, I immediately called the HR department and through their advice did what they told me needed to be done when there was a violation of an email policy by the state. And so therefore, as you have already stated, Ms. Goforth did get a verbal reprimand as well as a very strongly worded reprimand written. It was put into her file that if this should ever occur again, that she would be immediately terminated.
Do you see that she did anything wrong? Just considering that this is 2009, that issues of racism are very sensitive, and we have an African-American president that has broken a lot of barriers, and you know, these types of emails and conversations and this type of racial tone is like going back in time. Do you think that this is somebody that really should be on your staff for you as a lawmaker?
Well, this was an inappropriate email. I have already said that, and I will continue to say that. As I've said before, it does not represent the beliefs or the opinions of my office. And we did follow policy. Now, this is an employee who has had a stellar record. I've said before, it does not represent the beliefs or the opinions of my office. Now, this is an employee who has had a stellar record. I've said before, it does not represent the beliefs or the opinions of my office. Now, this is an employee who has had a stellar record. She's been with the state government for more than 20 years, and she has served the districts that she served, not just my district, but obviously she's worked for other legislators, and there has never been anything in her record at all. She has a stellar record. And we follow policy, and that's what you do. When someone breaks the rules, you follow policy. Now, obviously, she regrets that she sent out the email. And it doesn't matter whether how the email was sent. It was inappropriate. And it doesn't matter whether how the email was sent. It was inappropriate. I will not have that kind of communication coming from my office. It would be inappropriate whether this were someone that is the President of the United States or someone who is a lower ranking official. It doesn't matter. It's inappropriate, and we did follow the policy, and that's exactly what I intend on doing, is following the policy that was advised by the HR department.
And your lawmakers, your fellow lawmakers have been reacting. Democratic Representative Johnny Shaw, who is African American, says it's racism and no one has any business being in state government that is a racist such as this. She should be fired. And then House Minority Leader Gary Odom came forward saying the email was outrageous and that he'd like to know if such behavior at the Capitol is more common than just a very isolated circumstance. So what do you say to white and black lawmakers, your fellow lawmakers, that are taking issue with this?
Well, I can once again only speak to what we've done in our office, and I believe that we have followed the policy. I will continue to say that to people, that if there had been a different policy, I would have followed the policy that was given to me by the HR department for any employee. When there is a breach in the incorrect use of the email site here at the state. Many of my legislators on both sides of the aisle, both black and white, know Diane Black, and they know that I am somebody who works with people from all sides of the aisle, all walks of life, and this is again not indicative of anything that I would like to have coming out of my office, and I did take action that needed to be taken following the policy of the state.
All right, and let me just ask you, if you don't mind, since I have you, and we can talk about the state of Tennessee. I mean, this is not the first time that the state of Tennessee and the Republican Party there has been criticized for these sort of racial comments or mailings. Just going back to February 2008, the state Republican Party removed the then candidate Barack Obama's middle name, Hussein, from a news release that was put out. Also, this photo of Obama in traditional African garments, that was removed from a press release as well. Then you had the general election there in Tennessee when the Republican Party sent out a direct mailing with black lawmaker Nathan Vaughn, also Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi's heads on blackbirds or crows. And now we see your aide circulating this email. I mean, a lot of people are saying, gosh, it's like we're going back to the 1960s. I mean, is this really progress for Tennessee? And, you know, is this mature debate?
Well, I cannot speak to those other issues. I will tell you that this email did not come from the Republican Party.
The story first hit the blog fitsnews.com Friday night with a headline reading, SC GOP activist posts remark disparaging First Lady. The activist is this man, Rusty DePass, a former state Senate candidate and former state election commission chairman. The article shows an entry DePass posted on Facebook, commenting on the gorilla that escaped from Riverbank Zoo Friday. It says, quote, I'm sure it's just one of Michelle's ancestors, probably harmless.
It is something that people have indicated that may have been. I can tell you absolutely it did not. It came from an independent source outside of the Capitol. It was inappropriate, and I will continue to say that it was inappropriate. I don't want to speak to what else may have happened in other places. I wasn't involved in those. I was involved in this situation. I can tell you very clearly that Diane Black has served her constituents from every walk of life. And I'm also a nurse and have worked in nursing for over 40 years. I regret that this happened in my office, and when it did, I took action, and I feel very comfortable with the action that I took.
is true.